ain't got no boundaries to hold me back. Boundaries is what I lack. Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Conflation Station. Hop on board the next train out, and let's take a ride to a place where anything's possible.
Hello and welcome to the Conflation Station. My name is Hugo Yorway and I'll be your tour guide for today's podcast, including political commentary, conspiracy theories, and some cool music from the Electric Love Orchestra. At the Conflation Station, our team of creative writers and novice journalists combine elements of irony, satire, and pure absurdity to create insightful political commentary and homespun conflated conspiracy theories taken from today's news headlines. In the first segment of our show, known as the 14th Circuit, or what I like to call the Court of Public Opinion, renowned raconteur, the Reverend Rusty Stubblefield, shares his unfiltered and unhinged views about America's constitutional, or shall I say unconstitutional, crisis. His topic this week is the First Amendment. Rusty, the microphone is all yours.
Well, thank you, Hugo. Today, I'd like to take a deep dive into that there First Amendment as it applies directly to freedom of speech. Your speech, my speech. Here's what that there First Amendment says on the subject. Quote, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. End quote. Pretty plain and simple, ain't it? You all know that I's one heck of an advocate for free speech. Heck, it gives me the right to say just about anything I want on this here podcast. But while that there First Amendment provides protection for people with big mouths like myself, over the years, it has also stoked the flames of controversy with unintended consequences. And while I believe in the First Amendment, I believe that Congress should be placing limits on what people in the government can say and cannot say. For example, I think that Congress should make a law that prohibits the president from dropping the F-bomb in public. The word fuck is plain and simple vulgarity, and the president using it in public does nothing to elevate intellectual discourse on matters of concern to the American people. In point of fact, it sets a real bad example for those kids who are supposed to be looking up to the president as a role model and rector of moral turpitude. Heck, most people don't even know that the word fuck, F-U-C-K, is a damn acronym standing for fornication under consent of king, and or meaning for unlawful carnal knowledge. Now, today in these here United States, our president ain't no king, albeit the current president thinks he is one. So there ain't no need for him to be offending us God-fearing folk by using the F word. For most people like you and me, the word fuck means engaging in sexual intercourse. I'm not so sure that when a president uses the word, that's what he's referring to. Do you? By the same token, I don't think you and me should be running our mouths criticizing the president for everything he does either. That would never be tolerated in the good old USSR, so why should we tolerate it here? You know, if we's going to prohibit the president from using the F word, members of Congress should also be enacting legislation to prohibit him from using any and all profanity in public whatsoever. Just think, if the president is prohibited from using profanity, there'd be a lot less for him to talk about. Now, while we're at it, let's not only ban the president from using profanity, let's prohibit members of Congress from using cuss words too. Aren't you just tired of listening to those dumbasses in Congress swearing all the time? It just turns my stomach. When I watch that there C-SPAN, I keep a bottle of Pepto-Bismol by my side. Now, getting back to the F word, I think that we should also ban all elected public officials from flipping people off. You know, giving people the middle finger. Some of you may not know this, but under our First Amendment, flipping someone off is protected under a category of speech known as symbolic speech. If we's going to prohibit our elected officials from certain forms of symbolic gestures, we should do the same for people like you and me. Here's a good example. I think people should be prohibited from burning the American flag as a form of protest. Who do these Betsy Ross hating liberal radical left-wing motherfuckers think they are anyway? And how about all those dumbass t-shirts with faded images of the flag tie-dyed on them? Get rid of them too. And while we still talking about flags, Congress should make a law prohibiting the display of the damn Nazi flag in public or anything else with a SWAT sticker on it. Now, y'all don't want no Adolf Hitler for president, or do ya? Now, that there First Amendment was also intended to protect most everything that comes out of people's mouths and they's heads too. It's called freedom of expression. But if you're like me, do you really want to hear a singer ad-libbing and screaming the Star-Spangled Banner at a baseball game like they's jamming with the Funkadelics? The Star-Spangled Banner needs to be sung with reverence and in tune, goddammit. And if you're going to do a country rendition, try to make Charlie Pride and Tammy Wynette proud when you sing it. And if you're playing an instrumental version of the national anthem at a ball game, just remember, it ain't no fucking Jimi Hendrix concert. Now, what about that symbolic gesture of people taking a knee or refusing to stand when the national anthem is being played? It's plain un-American. There's also a lot of people who think it's okay to desecrate our national monuments in public buildings with spray paint and calling it graffiti. That ain't no freedom of expression. That's plain breaking the law. And some people call that shit art. Now, at the beginning of today's sermon, I did a lot of talking about the F word. But there's also another word. It's the N word. A word a white man dare not say for fear of being called a racist. So I will not utter it on this podcast. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Yet black folks can speak it freely and use it as a term of endearment towards each other because they's all brothers and sisters. Well, they is my brothers and sisters too. Just ask Adam and Eve. Freedom of speech around race, nationality, and gender has always been a sticky subject in these here United States. While terms like kike, mick, wop, and fag may have dropped out of today's popular vernacular, the sentiments of hatred for and fear of others is forever upon the minds and hearts of mankind. As I say at the end of each of my weekly sermons, if you and me put our pretty little heads together, we may still be able to figure out how to get this here US of A back on track. Thank y'all for listening.
Rusty Stubblefield is an unemployed certified auto mechanic and deacon at the Church of Our Lady of Original Sin. And now it's time to take a brief musical journey with the inimitable Electric Love Orchestra, joined by the one and only Rusty Stubblefield on vocals, featuring a piece written by world-renowned composer E. Dudex entitled Shut Your Mouth. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with this week's Conflated Conspiracy Theories.
Why don't you shut your big mouth? Just shut your big, fat mouth. Why don't you shut your big mouth? Just shut your big, fat mouth. I don't regret the words I used to express my feelings about you, and I can't forget how you reacted when I told you we were through. Why don't you shut your big mouth? Just shut your big, fat mouth.
Thank you, Rusty, E. Dudex, and the Electric Love Orchestra for creating that masterpiece, available online at Bearberry Path Music. In our next segment of the podcast, we'll be sharing various homegrown conspiracy theories that have been developed by our staff of creative writers and novice journalists who believe first and foremost that, at the Conflation Station, almost anything is possible. We invite you, our listeners, to share your own homegrown conspiracy theories by sending an email to bearberrypathmusic, one word, @gmail.com. That's bearberrypathmusic, one word, @gmail.com, and place the words conspiracy theory in the subject line. We would love to hear from you, our listeners. Today, we will be turning our attention to conflated conspiracy theories that focus on new approaches to solving the migrant issue and the subject of burning biscuits. Our lead story focuses on new approaches to help ease the migrant crisis in America. In a bold move, President Trump is setting his sights on the planet Mars as the premier location for resettling illegal immigrants who live in the United States. Trump said, quote, "The Democrats think they've done a great thing by establishing sanctuary cities. I'll do them one better by establishing a sanctuary planet," end quote. At a press conference last week, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, quote, "President Trump has decided on the planet Mars for the migrant resettlement project, even though it is a little further away from Earth than the moon is," end quote. President Trump said, quote, "I've got to go with Mars for the migrant resettlement project because technically the moon is not a planet," end quote. He commented, quote, "If Putin wants to colonize the moon, let him go ahead and do it. We're going to build a detention camp on Mars that is better than any other found in the entire galaxy and maybe even the entire universe." Trump also indicated that he prefers the Mars location because of what Mars stands for. He said, quote, "Mars is known as the red planet, and you know how much Republicans love the color red. Once I complete building a big, beautiful resort and golf course up there, aliens from all over the universe will come to visit or be imprisoned there, along with all of the rapists, murderers, and drug dealers we send up there from Earth. Mars is going to be one hell of a moneymaker, and there will be a 0% tariff for all goods manufactured on Mars shipped back to Earth," end quote. Trump told reporters that the capital of Mars will be a city built to replicate Red Square in Moscow. Trump also commented, quote, "Mars is also named after the god of war, and whether or not I like to admit it, I also see myself as a god of war. Just ask my friend Benjamin Netanyahu," end quote. In the next several months, Trump will be sending a special expeditionary Space Force unit to Mars to, quote, "check things out," end quotes. He said, quote, "I hope the Martians will cooperate with our efforts, but if not, we can exterminate them just like our great American patriots of the past did to the American Indians in the wild, wild West," end quote. Trump said that he will be reaching out to Elon Musk to spearhead the Space Force's efforts on Mars. Trump said, quote, "Elon has the resources of SpaceX behind him, but more importantly, Elon himself is from Mars and understands the people and the culture up there," end quote. In a related story, the Trump Organization will be refurbishing old MAGA, M-A-G-A hats into new Mars, M-A-R-S hats. The acronym MARS will stand for Make Americans Real Stupid. And now it's time to take another short musical break to listen to an original piece written by Rusty Stubblefield and performed along with the Electric Love Orchestra entitled My Biscuit. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with another conflated conspiracy theory.
Mama, don't burn my biscuit in your stove. Mama, don't burn my biscuit in your stove. Just heat it up a little, honey, before my biscuit gets cold. Mama, just bake my biscuit near your buns. I said, now, Mama, just bake my biscuit near your buns.
Yeah.
And get out a dish of butter, honey, and spread some ever-loving fun.
Thank you, boys and girls. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Remember, the Electric Love Orchestra's complete catalog is available online at Bearberry Path Music. In the Trump administration's continued efforts to promote world hunger and starvation in third world countries, this past week the State Department continued to defend its plan to destroy 496 of the 622 metric tons of high-energy, nutrient-dense biscuits that have been stockpiled in a warehouse in Dubai. The biscuits will be either incinerated or be shipped to a landfill. In defending its position on destroying the biscuits, the Trump administration maintains that the biscuits have exceeded their expiration date and cannot be distributed because they no longer are safe for human consumption. Cindy McCain, the wife of deceased Senator John McCain, and currently serving as the executive director of the United Nations World Food Program, said, quote, "Tell that to the thousands of children who are starving in Gaza. The destruction of these biscuits could mean life or death for those kids who are starving. The biscuits could have fed approximately 1.5 million children for an entire week." End quote. Currently, the biscuits are being stored in warehouses that were once operated by the now defunct USAID program eliminated by Elon Musk as part of the Doge budget cuts. The biscuits were originally purchased by the Biden administration at a cost of $793,000. The cost to dispose of the biscuits is estimated at $125,000. McCain said, quote, "It's inhumane and criminal that the Trump administration is turning a blind eye on the hunger crisis in Gaza when so much food is available right next door." In response to McCain, President Trump said, quote, "I tried one of the biscuits and they taste terrible. I even tried putting some ketchup on them and they still tasted like cardboard. I wouldn't feed that shit to my own dog if I had one." End quote. Trump continued, quote, "This is no different than the way I would punish Don Jr. and Eric when they misbehaved as kids. I would send them to bed without supper." End quote. The Trump administration is looking at other alternatives to end the hunger crisis in Gaza, with efforts currently focused on opening McDonald's franchises in the region. Trump said, "McDonald's offers great tasting, high-calorie meals at a low price. I eat it all the time. And by the way, it will be a great moneymaker." End quote. Currently, there is no tariff on bioengineered meat and French fries shipped to the Middle East. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said, "I have asked my team to look into holding a Nathan's hot dog eating competition in Gaza. Hot dogs are delicious and contain enough nitrates to kill you. We just need to be careful not to serve the Gazans any kosher hot dogs." End quote. Our team of novice reporters reached out to the CEO of Hebrew National Hot Dogs for comment, but he was not available. Trump also suggested reaching out to the CEO of General Mills to see if the Pillsbury Doughboy was available to coordinate a biscuit eating contest. Trump said, "That Doughboy sure knows his muffins. Maybe we could trade some hostages for muffins." Trump said, quote, "If we can't reach a deal with Nathan's, I'm sure those starving Arabs will be okay with eating just hot dog buns." End quote. Trump then called on his deep knowledge of world history, saying, quote, "You know what Marie Antoinette once said? Let them eat cake."
Well, we've reached our destination. We'll be back next week to pick you up for yet another journey to and from the Conflation Station.